Tea Bakes. Today we will be making scones, walnut scones made with yeast instead of baking powder. The reason I developed this recipe is because baking powder is not very healthy and some people cannot take baking powder, so I developed this scone recipe using yeast instead. Let's get started! The ingredients that we will need are eggs, plain flour, yeast, white castor sugar, milk, salted butter, and walnuts. First, we will start by dissolving the yeast in the milk. This will ensure that the yeast is distributed evenly in the dough, compared to if you just added the yeast directly into the dry mix. So it's important to dissolve it in the milk first. At first it doesn't seem to dissolve at all, but you just have to stir it evenly first and put it aside for around 5 minutes. Then you will see that it will dissolve into the milk. This step is important so that yeast is distributed evenly all around the dough compared to if you just added it into the flour mix. Now I will sift plain flour into the mixing bowl. Now I will start sifting the plain flour into the mixing bowl.
Begin to grow. Patience, love, and time we take.
Now I will cut the cold butter into cubes and add it into the flour. Now I will cut the butter into cubes and put it into the flour. It's important that the butter is cold from the fridge so that you will get a flaky scone instead of a tough scone. Using the paddle attachment, I will start mixing the flour and butter on low speed.
Step by step we learn to bake. Flour sifted, eggs to mix. Every failure just a fix. Confidence will surely find in each crumb we leave behind. You can learn to bake anything. You can rise with what you bring. Feel the hope, feel the flame. Every try feels a gain.
Now that you can see the texture is like fine sand, you can stop mixing. Now I will add in the white castor sugar into the butter and flour mix and just roughly combine using the paddle attachment. The yeast not only sweetens the scone but also provides food for the yeast to feed on. So the chemical equation for the yeast and sugar is yeast plus sugar gives you ethanol and carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the gas that helps the dough to rise, and ethanol will evaporate in the oven under high heat. So this is why yeast in the dough helps the scone dough to rise. Add in 40 grams of whole eggs. Be careful and don't add too much or the dough will be too soft. Okay. And also add in the yeast and milk mixture. Now on on low speed, I will switch on the mixer. I will use speed 1. This is the leftover whole egg from the recipe, and then we want to keep it into the fridge so that we can use it for egg wash later on. And then I will just break the whole walnuts into smaller pieces and add them into the dough. Now I continue mixing on low speed, speed 1. So I try to scrape the pedal attachment and also the bottom of the mixing bowl, because that's where a lot of dry flour gets stuck, and also the sides, but mainly on the bottom, the dry flour can get stuck. Okay. As you can see, the dough is not fully formed yet, so I just continue on low speed, speed 1. Remember to stop once the dough comes together. It's very important not to overmix the scone dough, or else it will be too tough. Okay, around this stage, you can stop and then combine the dough together using your hands. Now we will start shaping the dough into a rectangle. Now I will transfer the dough out onto the tray. Combine the dough together. Try not to knead the dough, as this is not bread dough. For a flaky scone, try not to work the dough too much. What we are trying to do here is to combine it together and press into a rectangle. It's very fun to mold this dough. It doesn't have to be very precise. Just a rough rectangle will do. Next, I will cover with a piece of cling film and let rest at room temperature for 30 minutes. Now that 30 minutes is up, I'm going to divide the dough into 3 portions and then stack them on top of each other. You can feel that the dough is very light. That means that it has fermented and the yeast has feed on the sugar to create carbon dioxide and ethanol, which helps the dough rise. So you can feel that the dough is very light. After I've stacked the 3 pieces of dough together, this is to create the layers in the scone. So I will press it down and do the same as per just now to shape it into a flat rectangle. Press lightly into a rectangle. After I have done shaping, I will cover with a piece of cling film and keep it into the fridge overnight. So it will be slow fermentation. Slow fermentation prevents under fermentation so that it will exhaust all the yeast activity. So I'm going to cover with the cling film and then keep it into the fridge overnight and bake the next day. Okay, it's the next day and then the dough has rested in the fridge overnight. Now we will slice it into squares and bake them in the oven. You can slice it in rectangles or triangle, any shape that you like. Feel free to make the recipe yours. You don't have to cut it in the exact same shape as me. Adapting recipes to your own style is also a crucial step in practicing creativity, which will help you develop your own recipes in the future. Now I've cut them into rough squares. I will just separate them. You can see that the dough has fermented well and the layers inside the dough. So we'll just separate them and bring them apart. Next, I will egg wash the scones. This is the leftover egg wash from mixing the dough earlier on. So remember to keep it so you have egg wash for the scones. Lightly brush the top with egg wash. Take your time with this step. Enjoy the process of baking. Now I will put into the preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius and bake for around 15 minutes. 10 minutes first and then rotate the tray and bake for another 5 minutes. Take note of the color because each oven is different.